Hello. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about trauma recovery and just overall wellness in one's life. So when somebody is experiencing challenges with trauma in your history, it can really express as difficulties in caring for oneself. You often find that your self-care and your routines and your structure are kind of missing or fragmented. And also your mood is not really anchored in finding a stable ground. Sometimes trauma can cause you to have symptoms that are lodged in your body and in intense physiological feelings that can lead to flashbacks, or what I refer to as hyperfantasia, which is where you're really experiencing a memory of something that happened to you. Um, it can make you feel really disconnected from yourself, a kind of a loss of control, feeling like you're kind of a puppet in the world. And it can also sometimes cause fragmentation in like memories and timelines and things like that. People have reported that they feel like they're in a fog, and people report that they often really kind of avoid coming out of that fog because it really feels so much more safe than what they're physically feeling in their body and in their emotions when they are exiting that fog state. However, that fog state can really keep you stuck. It can keep you from using skills, connecting with supports, and doing the basic self-care things that you need to take care of yourself, such as basic things like cleaning your apartment, doing your dishes, getting out for a walk, brushing your teeth, hygiene stuff. It can keep you from eating on a regular basis and just having that day-to-day structure that humans need to stay stable. Do you ever notice that when you're feeling like really off kilter, the first things you start noticing are going is like you're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not really caring for yourself? These are things that can recur when you're kind of having a reoccurrence of trauma trigger. Some of those trauma triggers can be, range from, it can range from relationships that are triggering to environmental triggers. Something that reminds you of something that caused you harm and distress in the past, or it can be just stress that's accumulating from one event to the other across your day or week. It doesn't have to be one thing that's triggering it. It can be really helpful to do an analysis of that to kind of see what is it that you can do to not only um, prevent yourself from getting to that point, but what you can do to take care of yourself preventatively and ongoing. What do you want your routine to look like so you don't get yourself to a place where you're constantly on edge or constantly in a fog? Um, so some of the tools that people can use to cope with trauma symptoms that I've heard have been useful are reconnecting with your body in a connected, supportive way, engaging your physical senses. Some people do this by immersing themselves in like extreme temperatures, cold on the face, initiating the dive response. It could be connecting with your body by squeezing and holding or stretching and moving your body. Yoga can be really beneficial for that reason. Some people do enjoy meditations. Other people don't because they find that that doesn't engage the body as much and it can be triggering. Um, some people do really well with guided imagery and meditations because when they're having those flashbacks or that hyperfantasia, they're able to step into creating a new world, a positive mental image where they're able to remove themselves from the physiological memory of what's happening. Sometimes memories don't show up as I'm remembering this clearly, or I have a cognizant timeline of what happened. Sometimes they show up in our reactions to triggering people, triggering environments, and it often shows up just in our body and in our feelings with this intense sense of something's not right and I can't handle this. So using those positive mental images can be a really useful tool to help you create this new world for yourself. A new sensory world does not take away the trauma. It does not take away the memories. Sometimes it could feel like a battle between these different worlds of the trauma flashback and the new sensory world that you're experiencing. Sometimes it's just not enough. Sometimes it's just going to be there. It's going to be there just as intense. And what can prevent it from getting even more intense is having an attitude of acceptance. Sometimes people feel that they just can't accept this and it's just too hard. It still exists. Even if I do accept it, it still exists. And if I don't accept it, sometimes I feel like I don't have control over whether I can accept it or not. Sometimes that can lead to severe physiological flashback symptoms, even to the point of vomiting and getting sick, or feeling like you are in an uncontrolled rage and need to voice out your aggression verbally or physically. And it often leads to the opposite of that, which is an emotional shutdown where you dissociate, stop caring for oneself, stop eating, doing much care for your body. You'll often see people that avoid showering, that avoid cleaning and basic hygiene things because it's easier to just not deal with your environment or your body. So what you want to do when you're feeling this overwhelmed sense of dysregulation is to think about your whole life like a house. On the bottom, well, your house is like, it feels fragmented from the trauma. Everything's kind of broken apart. The floors are on different levels. Nothing really makes much sense. You don't know what's in this room over here. You don't know what's over there. You want to get up here, but you can't because the stairway is blocked. You want to focus getting on the bottom. The bottom of the house are the things that keep you alive. They may not keep you alive today, but if you're not eating food, your body's not going to be okay. Food is the building block of your brain and your body. So you want to make sure you're eating. You want to make sure that you're drinking enough water, that you're taking care of your physical health. If your body's not well, your mind is not going to be well either. You have to focus on the body. So feeding yourself, caring for yourself, getting the medical treatment that you need, the medications that you need for stability in your body is going to be very important. Getting enough sleep. You also want to make sure you have stability in your life. Do you have housing that's set up? Are your finances set up so that you can be independent? That's going to make you feel better about yourself so that you can get up to the higher levels of the house in your life where you can feel like you're building up. The things that can make you feel like you're building up is having good financial stability in your employment. You've got a good job. You've got enough money to know that I can live on my own. I don't need to be dependent on other people or the systems around me. Not to say the systems aren't important. In fact, people that are on disability should stay on disability. You don't need to feel shame or anything about having limitations or having supports. But if you're able to increase your sense of self-confidence by taking care of your basic level needs in your physical body, making sure that your housing and finances are stable, whether it's getting disability check, support from main care, having health insurance or any insurance, those things are going to be building blocks to help you get the support you need, whether it's support from a therapist or support from a case manager or support from, I've got enough money so I can go to the gym or I can go to a yoga studio and I can pay to go out and listen to some live music and be around some stable, supportive people. So all of those things are building blocks. When you're not caring for yourself, when you're not showering, when you're not brushing your teeth, when you don't have housing, it's hard to feel good about yourself. When you don't feel good about yourself, it's hard to feel connected. When you're not feeling connected to people, it's hard to feel good about yourself. When you're not feeling valued, valuable, and your self-esteem is low, it's hard to want to find motivation to do new things in your life and to feel like you're living your best potential. It's hard to feel like you're living the life you want to live. So my recommendation to people with trauma is to really start on the bottom level. Focus on what you can do to take care of your body and your health today. Focus on your routine. What are you going to do when you wake up in the morning? What's your bedtime? We all need work on that. I certainly do, for God's sake. For myself personally, sometimes I find when I'm triggered into like a pattern of things that are connected to trauma, what I do is remind myself that you have a structure that you're supposed to be working with. When I have my structure that I'm working with, things go really well. My routine looks good. I can carry my trauma. My trauma is no longer carrying me. I'm holding it. I'm witnessing it and I'm feeling it. And you know what? It's okay. When the routine falls apart, everything starts to fall apart. You find that you're attracted to the wrong relationships and prioritizing them above yourself. You're eating the wrong foods and you're forgetting to take care of your body by going to the gym, doing exercise. And you're kind of spending money without really thinking about the consequences of it or not being aware of those basic needs. So bring yourself back to what you need for your structure. What do you need to care for your body, for your safety, for your finances, for your relationships? And what do you need to feel good about yourself and valued? These are the ways that you can cope with trauma. Don't let trauma control you. You can create a safe container to hold all of those feelings and experiences. And I recommend you work with a trauma informed counselor like myself. Thanks so much. And that's my soapbox for today.